Some criticisms on APM. Any thoughts? I mean, they can just retrain with stricter APM requirements, and I think that'll be fine. Like, again, I don't... I think that here's the thing that I think would be invalidating about the APM criticisms. There are many things for which, you know, like, you don't ooh and ah at as a human looking at a machine, because you'd go, well, yeah, of course you could do that. Right? Like, for instance, if you made a machine that was able to... Oh, did they reset the ladder? Yeah, no, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, claim it, that's fine. No. Okay, so what am I at now? Perfect. All right. Excellent. Let's start climbing. Yeah, for instance, if there is a drill, like a jackhammer, you don't go, oh my god, machines are more sophisticated than human beings, the brilliance of the jackhammer. You go, dude, it's literally, it's just a mechanical task that you're doing again and again and again. It's not thinking. Similarly, if you have a whole bunch of stalkers in StarCraft versus a whole bunch of stalkers in StarCraft, an AI can process 100% of the entire situation trivially easily. And I can easily imagine someone, you know, even like a college senior in computer science could program something that could, if it can read in the input data of the stalkers, they can write a heuristic that lets it always win against humans and, you know, micro perfectly. Like, a lot of people look down and they go like, oh, but that's just because it sees everything and can click at 1000 APM, right? That's fine. The reason that I'm still just blown away by AlphaStar is that it was able to take these edges that it was able to pick up in small micro situations and then strategically follow up in ways that were unbelievably clever. That's the thing that sort of tickles me. Speaking of getting tickled, since we are... Where's my Gruul deck? We're gonna play the funniest damn deck. Is this... Is this best of 3? I don't know. I want to play ranked. It is best of 3. Whatever, guys. We're going to hang on to this, and we're going to keep the same deck, no sideboarding in best of 3. Best 3 ranked is live. Yeah, no, I'm looking for some really chill gameplay this fine afternoon. So we might just do best of 1s and try to fiddle with it a little bit. Thought Wargroove was gonna be today. We just played Wargroove for 4 hours. I just wanted to play some Magic before closing out. Somebody says, do you think AlphaStar's constant pro production will turn out to be the optimal strategy or an artifact of learning itself? I mean, the rate at which it was building probes is graveyard. See you later. It just doesn't blow my mind that much, quite frankly. Just really does not. I'm not like, whoa, that's so crazy. It has been, since the early days of StarCraft 1, it was originally called a Maynard Exchange because every game community loves their ridiculous naming conventions. It was called a Maynard Exchange. And the Maynard Exchange is... you overbuild at one base, and then when the second base finishes, you take a lot of workers from the original base and move them over. So, well, should we go for it? Of course. Very well. I thought something like this might happen. That's why we buffed the guy that would buff this guy. Good lord, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so Tsumui, this idea of overbuilding probes, for any of you who are unfamiliar, so again, in StarCraft 2, 16 probes on your mineral patches is about correct. That's like, if you build more, you won't get much more. You'll get like fractional, marginal benefits, but like really it's linear to 16, and then it's just like... So satisfying. The game knows I don't have a sideboard. It's just showing me this. It's so funny. But yeah, for any of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's very common in StarCraft to stop building when you have 16 workers and many bases. So if I have 3 bases, I have 16 in my main, 16 in my second base, 16 in my third base. Mining minerals. So since that's where I want to wind up, sometimes you'll have players, you know, have something like 26 workers in their main base, because when they finish the second, they bring 10 workers over to the next base. And then they build 6 more, so now it has 16 here and 16 there. And then if they're getting ready to take a third, then they'll start building so that they can have like 20 here, 20 here, and then take 4 from each of these. They now have 16 in the main, 16 in the second, and they have 8 at the third, and they can build another 8 and be done. And so you will generally see conceptually, players building lots of extra workers, but sometimes stopping because it doesn't really help that much. This is a terrible hand. I don't really give a shit. Is this competitive metagame? I mean, if we're winning, I mean, I'm gonna burst into laughter. So the thing that Alpha Star did that everyone kind of like, whoa, about, is that Alpha Star was on one base for a long time, and most people would say stop at maybe 20 to 24 workers. And it was like, nah, bro, I'm never stopping this train. And I mean, it went crazy building those workers, dude. I mean, it went absolutely insane. Just went super crazy building workers. It built like 32 workers. And so no one would look at that and go, whoa, revolution. They might go, maybe our numbers were a little off. But also, a lot of people would be like, you know, it could also be just too many in a sort of trivial way. Tin Fox's man actually ended up overbuilding workers in matches today in WCS Winter. Again, players have always overbuilt workers. That's like it's just like a common thing to do. Alpha Star built more than usual, but not an insane amount more than usual, I think I would say. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is the most ridiculous shit I have ever seen. So do we just win now because 7... So if I swing with this... we win in some circumstances. We don't win if this one's blocked. Good, we won. I can explain why we win if this thing gets blocked, because when we do this, this thing has 3 toughness, which means it survives through this block, which now gives us the ability to thud. Whereas if this Jade Light Ranger was blocked... I'm an asshole. If this Jade Light Ranger was blocked, it would hurt us some. So... Boy, that tickles me pink. This deck does. I'll probably cut one of these. Got the Jade Light Rangers. Let me see something. I know. There's a FUD list that's like fucking hilarious. Come on, start loading, damn ye. Someone tweeted at me a few days ago. Is this it? Is it right here? FUD. Yeah. Oh, right. It doesn't run these guys. That makes tons of sense. These goes out, and then one of these goes in, and then what's the other one? Ah, yes, this is a good ad. Do I not have 4 Phoenixes? Now I do. I don't know why that one went away. All right. I mean, so it could, yeah, it could very well be the case that humans are underbuilding. You know, maybe they stopped at 22 to 24 probes when really they should be stopping at 28 to 32 probes. Boy, that's a good one. By the way, Crowl Harpooner, never occurred to me, has incredible synergy with Thud because you can play it. And it just gets +X+O for the stuff in your graveyard, and you just thud it, like, turn it's played. It's hilarious, man. I think we just, like, astonishingly demolished this. Isn't that right? Too bad there's no flyers here, huh? A curious obsession. So I think we actually save this puppy. Ooh, this game feels real over, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Oh, please draw. Je suis insist. So that guy's dying, huh? Alright, so we tap this and this and play this. Fight! Take that action. Haste. Now this is aggro here, man. Look at this deck. Wow. Whoa, Bag Limits is where can I go to learn about MTG? I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Bag Limit, you know, I might recommend download MTGA for free, play the starter decks for free, and just kind of see what you think. Alright, so I think we just go in for the murder. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9. Plus a billion. Seven, eight, 9. Oh, this is not even attacking. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. This still maximizes the amount of damage that our opponent would have taken. Because the trample lets us sneak in an extra one, doesn't it? No, we had lethal with the other one. That's our bad. It's fine. We had lethal. We found lethal. Lethal presented to us on a silver platter. There's something that's, like, really interesting to me. I think perhaps the most interesting thing about the Alpha Star matches was there's a way of thinking, a logic that humans can compose relatively easily, which is the idea of, here I can come up with this intermediate goal, and then there's obvious optimizations along the way to contribute to that short-term intermediate goal. What are some examples? Oh, we got a mulligan. We have no plays. We didn't have red mana. I think there might be one too many forests in this puppy. So what do I mean? I want to get carriers quickly. Why would I call that an intermediate goal? I know some of you are thinking, that's all I've ever wanted to do when I play StarCraft. But you say, I want to get carriers. Why? Because I believe that it's a tool to win. Why? Because my carriers will then let me do thing X, and X is a good tool in order to win the game eventually. Yada, 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 blue, blah, blah. Right? You can sort of see how that carrier is like your first step towards graveyard. But thank God, you're all huge now. I think because we missed turn one, we fucked, friend. I swear to God, Magic the Gathering takes enough focus that it interrupts my train of thought. Like, when we were playing the turn-based war group, I could just stop and make a point that took a few minutes, and it was fine. I thrive on the ability to talk. Instant. I think we just lose. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Intermediate goals and observations along the way. Thank you, Denunciator. Yeah. So, like, this idea of I want to get carriers because it'll let me do thing X, which I believe is a tool to help me win the game, right? You're trying to deal with an abstract statement. I want to win a game of StarCraft. What the fuck do I even do? Wah! And then you boil it down to something simpler. I'm just going to try to get carriers because it'll help me do this sort of thing. So when your brain goes, I'm trying to get carriers quickly, you got me. When your brain's going, I'm trying to get carriers quickly, a lot of sequencing becomes trivially obvious. Okay, once my cybernetics core is done, I'm immediately building a Stargate, and when I'm done with the Stargate, I'm immediately building the Fleet Beacon, and when the Fleet Beacon is done, I'm immediately building a carrier, and this is the fastest way to get the carrier, which I will then use in order to do stuff and win the game. And when delays come up in your brain, you might go, my opponent's going all in. I'm stopping the carrier plan until I think I'm safe. And am I safe? Yes. Okay, start the Stargate. And the instant it's done, start the Fleet Beacon. And the instant it's done, start the carrier, right? So our brains are really good at coming up with short-term goals. And obvious optimizations fall out of this. What are other examples of this in StarCraft? Never stop building workers. If a probe's done, another probe better be queued up. Never get supply blocked, because then you can't spend your money. If you can't spend your money, you don't get enough army in time. And if you don't have enough army, you lose the game. Right? You have these very clear, boom, guiding light statement that just kind of informs you. And you'll make failings. You'll get supply blocked. You'll whiff probes. And you'll go, gah, fuck. I'm screwing up that important goal of never stop building the whatever, right? I'm messing up that goal. When you look at Alpha Star, here's the way a neural network works. The way it works roughly, in a very hand-wavy sense, is I, the brain, take an action, we'll call them action 1, action 2, action 3 to represent that they're happening in a sequence. Right, so I do action 1, I do action 2, I do action 3, and I'm just doing these a lot. And it might be action 600, 601, 602, and then boom, I get a reward. What's a reward? Well, the way that brains are trained in a neural network, the reward is how the brain goes, I need to adjust myself. because the brain is represented as a bunch of numbers. What is the trigger to actually do an adjustment? A reward, a positive reward, or a negative reward. Like, maybe killing any unit is its reward. Maybe only winning the game is its reward. Maybe if it kills an expansion, it gets a reward. Whenever a reward happens, if it's on action 602, what it does is it goes, I better remember the sequence of actions I did as a pretty fucking good sequence, right? It tunes the numbers to start doing that sequence because it leads up to a reward. But the way that the brain adjusts in a lot of algorithms is like the last 20 or 30 actions that I took up to here are probably pretty damn important. But the action that I did like 10 minutes ago probably doesn't have a lot of connection to this. Right? Really simple example, if we're talking about Dota. In Dota, I might hide in a tree and be like, okay, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. There he is! Fucking kill him! Okay, so walking to that tree and waiting there for 15 seconds and killing him. That was good. I should remember that. I should remember to take time to get into position and then stand there and kill that guy. Our brains know that local set of actions was itself a complete sequence. But if at the start of the game I said, I'm going to top lane, and someone was like, no, fuck you, I'm going to top lane. And you're like, all right, I'm going to bottom lane. So you walked a little this way, and then you walked a little back. That move, that had nothing to do with you sneaking around, hiding in the trees, and killing someone 10 minutes later. Have nothing to do with each other. This is the way a neural network works in a lot of algorithms, right? If you get the reward on action 602, you'll put a ton of value on action 601 and 600 and 599. And much less on action 550, and almost none on action 3 and 4, right? That far distant thing back there. And so when you're playing millions of games, as AlphaStar did, you're smoothing out these pathways where the brain is starting to learn, this sequence of action. This sequence of actions is going to lead me to here. Okay, this sequence of actions is going to lead me to a good reward. Okay, this sequence of actions is going to lead me to a good reward. Things like, my opponent took an expansion, has nothing to defend it. The sequence of actions, which is move army to base and fucking kill his shit. Yeah, this is definitely going to get me a win. Good. Leave the pinky up because I'm dainty. And so this connects back to what I was talking about earlier about us humans being very good at coming up with intermediary goals for ourselves and tightening them. I'm trying to get carriers very fast. Quickly build a cybernetics core. Quickly build a Stargate. Quickly build it as close to instant as I can when the action is available. But if you watch AlphaStar, it was doing a lot of dirtily things. Like the gateway would finish, and if we look into the future, we can see that this player is going to be building a ton of stalkers and harassing with them, right? We can, I've seen the games, and I know that AlphaStar is going to do this. Why the fuck would it not build the cybernetics core immediately? Why? Like the gateway finished, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now it builds it, right? And 8 seconds is so long in StarCraft. Oh my god, that's so long. 8 seconds in StarCraft is like, oh no, I'm going to crash my car. I will break it in 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 8 seconds is a lot of time in some situations, okay? And so I'm my understanding of why AlphaStar is making what seems to us like fundamental errors is that we, humans, are coming up with these intermediary goals. AlphaStar is not. It's going, ooh, I get a reward here. Let me look way back into the distance. Like tuning the gateway construction time, tuning the cybernetics core construction time to trigger immediately after the gateway finishes. It's kind of in the past. It's kind of hard to really tell if that's necessarily good or bad. How might AlphaStar learn this? AlphaStar might very capably learn this by getting rushed and dying, getting rushed and dying, getting rushed and dying, and then it just goes, shit, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna try out building this cybernetics core really quickly, and this pressure begins to tighten the timing of it a little bit. Because again, this Alpha Star AI is optimizing based upon, I win here, let me look back at the steps of sequences in the past and really value the current good stuff and less the more distant good stuff. This is plausibly a shock, which I'm completely content with to kill a creature and deal with this. Son of a damn. This is actually a pretty nice little set of stuffs. I still think I might want 8 forests, 7 mountains instead of 9/6. 9/6 feels a little steep, especially with all these double reds. And so again, this is sort of backwards to how humans do it. Like when humans start off in something like StarCraft. Oh, I'm paying that like baby. So if I swing with this, no, it doesn't seem good. The way humans work when they're doing something like a, StarCraft, it's like just build pylons and probes. We think really locally, super duper hyper locally. Take that. Build a lot of probes, build a lot of pylons, and try to get to 3 bases. And you've ever been playing a game of StarCraft and you get 10 minutes in and you're like, oh, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You're a mess. You're an absolute mess. Alright? Because we're taught from start looking forward, hoping to use these intermediary steps to get to a win. Alstar's learning the proper way, which is, it's winning and it's sort of like looking backwards and be like, okay, how do we get here? Let me try to understand that. Okay, cool. Take that action. Alright, I found the move. The move is to kill. Who you want me to kill? Yeah, swing right on in with them tramples. So our opponent's got to figure out a real fast way to kill us, or we win. And, so I want to rephrase what I just said after this game, because it's just taking me a minute. Oh shit. Did we dead? Did we dead? We might have dead. Yeah, so humans, when we have no context, we get some of these short-term intermediate goals to help us go, but then sometimes you get lost after you get past those. I have 3 bases, and I built my probes and my pylons, and oh, shit, what units do I build now? What if he does this? What if he does that? Right? You get sort of panicked. And then through experience, you begin to learn how to navigate that strategic space, again, where you go, okay, like, and what happened there? Okay, so I should probably adjust like this, probably adjust like this. But I'm going to learn some quick shorthand rules to get me started. Never stop building probes. Try to get 3 bases. Never stop building piles. Things like this. A lot of neural networks don't have this. They're just like, I will behave randomly and only learn from random decision making until it is structured, right? We can cut off about, 50 years of random decision making and be able to play competently in a week. Which is fucking insane. That's why human brains are remarkable. The fact they can, like, do that. God. Prepare to die, Edgarf. We're gonna get an early Skargan Hellkite if I can peel an extra mountain. I really gotta make that change after this. The mana base feels really bad. So yeah, this leads me to, again, what I think is the most notable, interesting thing to me when I watch those games, is that humans will often have local sequences that are extraordinarily tight. Or excuse me, local sequencing that is extraordinarily tight and optimized. Oh my god, we did it. So I play this, I hit this, I play this, play this. This is probably going to get hasted, even though everyone loves the Skargan Helgite that is not hasted, because it can shoot her. But I am up against, presumably a very scary dude, and I need to get in the damage right away. Damn this wild growth walker. Oh, final finality. Hell no. Holy fucking moly. This is a thud we just win, right? Should have hasted the Zerton and swung on in for the win. It's a fairly reasonable outcome for us. I swear I'm going to tell you the thing I find interesting. It's going to take me a second, but I'm going to tell you the thing I find interesting. You're going to love it. It's going to be something special. Swinging in with both because I don't really need this guy anymore. I want to get him for 3 more points of damage. Not sure if I love or hate the Llanowar Elves in this. I might love them. Oh, baby, now. I think I might not want so many Skargan Hellkites in there, but I think perhaps we might argue that I shouldn't be hasting that. I gotta play this game a few more. Fuck. So here's the thing that I think is cool, or here's my actual point about the neural network stuff, is that, again, humans are very good at tightening and optimizing local sequencing. For instance, I am transferring 22 workers to a brand new base. Actually, here's a simple one. I am building a brand new base, so I send a probe. I very quickly know that I need to go Nexus, Assimilator, Assimilator, Pylon, Pylon. Why? The Nexus, because it's not an expansion without it. The 2 Assimilators, because we want gas. A Pylon and a Pylon, because we want to be able to defend all that, right? Because we can think about this as a local, little, tiny thing. Expansion finishes. What now? You'll see players very effortlessly go to this base and select, 10 or 11 workers. Go to that base, select 10 or 11 workers. We have now 22. Send 3 to this geyser, 3 to this geyser, 16 to the minerals. Done. Just easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That local sequencing is often very, very, very tight with a lot of top players, or even like intermediate players. Like, you watch gold level players play, and they just do this, whip this up. But often the thing that's lacking is broader level strategic thinking, right? Like, oh, does my opponent have the slower, stronger army, and I have the more mobile, weaker army? Okay, then I need to be pressuring and expanding behind to transition. Or I need to be double expanding behind, not transitioning, and applying even more pressure, right? These very high-level optimizations of strategy that involve execution and understanding game state, and it requires so much know-how and technical execution. But it's almost like the flip for AlphaStar. AlphaStar is very weak at local sequencing. And in fact, we see literally shit moves from AlphaStar. Like, I was watching the first game, and I was like, oh my god, this must be so embarrassing for DeepMind, because those probes are doing literally terrible decisions. Not, whoa, is sending 3 probes off minerals good? Maybe I shouldn't mine minerals on my probes. No, it's fucking terrible. It is a local sequencing that it's very weak at. And there were many instances of local sequencing issues that emerged from AlphaStar. But AlphaStar was fucking nasty at a lot of those high-level strategic executions. In particular, there is an emotional framework that drives a lot of decision-making for players that game designers are constantly pissed off about. For instance, you know what a lot of people do emotionally when they're playing strategy games? I need to make sure that I'm safe. I gotta stay alive till I got my good army, and then I'll attack. In StarCraft, Turbo Newbie is a specific term that describes someone that surrounds their base with cannons, surrounds it with spores and spines and defenses. They surround themselves because they're going, as long as I can stay safe, once I get to my big army, you're going to be dead, mister. Like, for the history of RTS games, Turbo Newbieing has been a thing. This person doesn't fucking attack, right? The person that sits in the corner in the shooter game is like, I've got a good position. I'm not going to go into a bad position. I'm okay. You know, I got to wait till I'm in good shape before I do my thing. Right? This is common. It's really common. And even at mid level play, you'll see players do this, where they're like, okay, I really got to wait for this upgrade before I attack. You'll see this with Dota players. All right, let me farm from the next big item, right? Like, I need to get my thing going, and then I'll go do your thing. The general concept I'm saying is people tend to be more defensive to stay alive more, and way less aggressive to fuck with people. Because being aggressive feels bad when you lose. I'm going to send in a bunch of stalkers and micro, and you walk up, and an immortal's just like, BAM! And it just shoots you in the fucking head, and you're like, oh my god! And then you don't have any units. You used to have 8 stalkers, and they used to have 2 immortals and a pair of sentries. You thought you were going to pick off sentries and get out of there. I'm a knife fighting kid in a fucking alleyway. You got these fantasies about how fucking tight you're going to be. And then you just up and die like a clown. Suddenly you have 2 stalkers, and they still have 2 immortals, still have 2 sentries, and you're like, oh, it feels bad. It feels so shitty. Hot damn, I'm the best. You know what? I actually think, is this a haste game? Nah, this is a +1/+1 counter game. There's Merfolk Tricksters and Curious Obsession to make this 2/2, so I'll not blast through. Alright. So what happens is people mentally train themselves out of that, because what is the emotional experience of failed aggression? It's, I fuck up, I lose all my stalkers, and then I have to spend a while trying to win from a position where I'm already fucked. Alright. I gotta make sure I ain't fucked first. Are we getting the 2-for-1? Minus this and then double block? Is that what's happening? I feel like a bad person. Crunch for crunch for crunch. So again, humans, I was defending and I died. Damn. If I could just stayed alive a little longer, we could have gotten there. You experience, I have hope, I have hope, I have hope. I lost. Okay, let me try again. I have hope, I have hope, I have hope. I lost. That's okay. Do you guys want to just get in there? I think this is going to be countered, but That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and hit Spiral in the face with my shit. Haste. Yeah, I got you. But if you're being aggressive and you fail... Oh, shit, man. You had hope and excitement, and then hope got sucked away from you, and you experienced long-term hopelessness, and then you fucking died. So if you look at the history of my commentary in StarCraft 2, you've watched all these other commentators talk about this in StarCraft 2, it is hard to learn how to be aggressive. Because most people just don't have the, mental fortitude to just keep grinding through game after game after game after game after game, losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing, and Jesus, God, I'm still losing and losing and losing. I don't want to replace these with, like, lightning bolts or something. Probably doesn't make sense from running Llanowar Elves. Probably want to keep these if I do have Llanowar Elves. But when you look at Alpha Star gives no Fs. Alpha Star's like, yeah, I'm killing, that's fine. Like, not a big deal. You can kill me, I can totally not kill me, it's fine. I'll just... Oh, I attacked and it didn't work? Well, I just adjust my brain a little bit so that I'm still attacking a shitload. But not a lot. Just a little bit. Looshy, dooshy, dooshy. Alright. This deck just loses to mono red too much. Think about, like, why some players, like, I have long postulated that some of the reason why some players wind up being aggressive is you can also wind up with, like, super easy wins. Like, super stupidly easy wins, where you're just like hell, this deck is actually a great example of this. The games we lose with this deck feel demoralizing as all hell, because I'm like, oh, this red is just blowing up the shit out of me. Then I play against someone who is not able to deal with me. Oh my god, I just roll over them. It's a great play, dude. Dun 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 ba da 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 ba 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 dun 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 dun. Oh shit. This card just nukes us, doesn't it, man? That card's a real pile of crap. Well, then I can break the streak by breaking the spell. I think turn 2 Gruul Spellbreaker is pretty oppressive, so I'm gonna impressively oppress him. Fuck. Bing bong, bing bong. Is this actually good to do? I think this would be bad to do. I think this is fine to just smash through, I think. I don't know. Like, this card just owns us so hard. I need to stop playing this deck immediately, man. This is like a terrible position to be in. Probably gonna start best of 3ing my Naya.
The wilds are my shield.
The wilds are my shield. Oh my god, a Ravenous Pupacabra. Hot damn. Yeah, I think against some of the more control-y decks, we're in good shape, you know. Oh, that's a nice draw. Surprise, motherfucker. I mean, we're boned. We're super boned, actually.
I'm a survivor.
I don't know, I'm in this game still. This is terrible. C'est terriblement. Terriblement. Yeah, man, Alpha Star just, like, doesn't care, man. It would, like, attack and lose and learn again, attack and lose and learn again, attack and lose and learn again. Hello! It's me, the Phoenix. Yeah! Dum da da. Maybe I'll just do some mono red aggro. Climb up a little bit. I don't think I want to go through the intense effort of... Oh my god. Get me out of this game. Okay. Mono red, baby. This deck feels like a spikier, weaker mono red that is hilarious. From Mythic to Platinum in one reset. Uh-oh, it's time for the meta mono red. I don't remember what's in this list, but I remember that it's very good. This is the one that does not have any... Oh, that's so good. This one does not have any... Experimental Frenzies, day 9. Experimental Frenzies. I'm a little poo-pooed at the end of the day. That's a terrible starting hand. Alright. Literally, this was our opening hand. It's me, a shitty mono red deck. Woohoo! Here we go, baby. Yas. Shingro says, if you were a machine learning network taking these losses, how would you respond to altering the deck a single card to land? I don't even know if a lot of people have good definitions for that sort of thing. I mean, this is putting my hand pretty face up, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do. This card is gonna just own the shit out of us. Yeah, I actually have no idea how you would even set up a network to do machine learning for Magic the Gathering. I'd have to think for a long time about that. I mean, that's just like such a complicated question. It's like machine learning is both a category and a broad tool set. It's not like a solution set. Like saying using machine learning for this is kind of like saying I'm going to use engineering for something, right? Like if I said, hey, I went to my workshop and I built this cool mug, right? I did some engineering type stuff to build this mug. And you're like, that's a cool mug, Day 9. How would you use engineering in order to make the space station that's orbiting Earth and, like, account for all the people needing to survive up in the International Space Station? I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Let's assume I'm an experienced engineer. I need to think about it. Because setting up the neural network is like a really tricky, difficult process. But if I'm thinking out loud, I'm saying that not as an answer. I'm saying that more as a framing. The way then that I would sort of investigate doing that is first I would. It should be pretty straightforward to represent the board state. It's very clear to represent what the actions that you have available are. Play this card, play this card, play this card, play this card. But there is a really like to encode the action, like, oh, okay, so do I play thing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, right? It's very easy to represent that. However, it would be very, very difficult to provide a clean, clear representation of what a card is. Like, how the heck do you represent this? You would typically think to use something that is known as an embedding, which is a way of taking a data set where elements in the data set have similarities to each other, and therefore you can represent this as like a vector along some axis of properties. But, I mean, an embedding, again, it's like more of a conceptual tool that you can use. You'd have to set up. There are good embeddings, bad embeddings, okay embeddings. Because, again, the notable thing is that a neural network, as inputs, is going to be taking numbers between -1 and 1 and outputting numbers between -1 and 1. For the most part. That's what you're working with. So, like, before I can even get to the point at which I would be able to do any learning, even representing this shit seems fucking hard. It's fucking hard. Because, again, it's not that I am teaching it what the cards are. I have to figure out a way for me to represent each card in some way. What a fucking cool deck. I love this 4-color Gates deck. This is so sick. This here says, it doesn't have to strictly be -1 to 1, I think, so long as you can apply an order-preserving transform. Yeah, you know, for instance, you can use what are called activation functions, such as the Tanch function or the Sigmoid function, in order to squash values and doing stuff like that. But the reason I say think of it as turning everything into representations between -1 and 1, because you son of a bitch. How do I kill this? Probably this first, and then swing him for the face. Die. Yeah, and any data setup that you would have, you could still turn into numbers between -1 and 1, and a lot of the time the values that are being passed through the network function better when they're between -1 and 1. For instance, if you're using like the hyperbolic tangent as your activation function, the value if you know x is 100 versus 1,000, those have very similar outputs. So it's difficult for your neural network to distinguish the difference between those two in some situations, you know. So I say between -1 and 1, not because it's like strict, but just because conceptually I think that's like a goal that's like fine to state. And given that, still it's like I need to have a representation for every single card that it is reading in as data. God damn, this is so cool. This is like the best possible draft deck I'm up against. Alright, now let's take ourselves a trip to Thinky Town. I think that, like, so this is 3 points of damage, 3 points of damage, and 2 points of damage is 8 points of damage, and this is another 2 points of damage. This is 10 points of damage in the hand. We can swing in and get 3 points in, so that's 13 points of damage. Fuck. I think this man is a complete dick. Wasting a card. Wasting a card. I'm mainly playing mono red so I can continue to think about this machine learning stuff. And I've played this deck before, so. God, there's some really cool decks that are coming out. I love this 4-color Gates deck. It's just so sick. Bam, 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 bam. Neener, you have 7 mana. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, so, I mean, like, again, you would probably want to represent each card. Again, I'm just thinking of, like, how do I provide the input? If I want to, let's hit him with the good game, man. We can be as nice as we want. We're Platinum 4. Season just reset, man. We got as much comfort as we want, just conceding easily. So what you'd probably want to do is you probably want to create, again, this idea of an embedding. How do I take a card and transform it into a vector of small floats? Which would just, frankly, just be tricky. Because an embedding is basically, I, Sean, have a list of cards, and I, Sean, came up with a set of what I think are the important properties of cards. And I'm going to try to create a mapping between the card name and the properties of cards. And then that vector in the middle, through that whole learning process, that's the embedding for each one. That's kind of how you do the... And I know I literally just have spat out like a shitload of buzzwords. And if you don't know most of these buzzwords, it's very easy to be like, I don't know if I know anything you're saying. It's time for Diagonal Monkey. But I mean, even then, like, coming up with a legit, reasonable embedding, that'd be like, that sounds fucking hard. On a double Diagonal Monkey. And then upon doing that, there is this extraordinarily explosive problem. God damn, that card is fucking good. If at first you don't succeed, Diagonal Monkey. I don't really know what I want to do, so I'm just going to attack with everything and see what they do. Yeah, that's right. It resolves. And then you see, I think there comes this question where I'd be like, okay, well then, like, there's gonna have to be a lot of clever shit going on with the internal architecture. Because, I mean, I guess you could just do something like... Fuck it, man. This red deck really feels way weak. It seems like people have figured the meta out. Udell's more. It says Death Touch, so I want to blow this fucking thing up. Get out of here. So you'd have to do a whole bunch of, like, cute shit with the architecture of the thing. Yeah, suck on mountains. 76, 69. You have to do a bunch of clever stuff with the internal stuff. Because there's this whole idea of what deck are you up against. And how do you represent that and encode that? Dude, we're dead, right? Because one more mana falls and we just explode. Diagonal Monkey and a Steamkin, a bunch of Spectacle. I don't have any. I don't have Steamkins in this deck. This is tight though, man. Our mono red is getting stomperoni. GG. Let's try our black-white Angels deck. This is so cool that people are able to defeat these Nexus of Fate and these mono-red decks now. With just like a week of time. Because, you know, one of the thoughts that I'm sort of having is, technically, here's something that you can do with any neural network, right? You can say, all right, Magic the Gathering neural network, here's what's going to happen. I am going to give you a deck to play. And actually, you know, I have like 80 decks, and I'm just going to be giving you one at random. And you're going to play against another human being on the ladder at random. And you could say, okay, your input is your cards. We have an embedding for this. The state of the board is relatively straightforwardly representable if we have an embedding that represents each card. Suck on the whole history of Benalia, my friend. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get mortified, baby. Here comes the mortification. Mortification commencing. Tight. Well, you could have that input. You could have the output space, and then you could just say, you know what's in the brain? Literally so fucking many neurons, man. I'm just literally, I'm gonna let it just learn how to do stuff. So in terms of terminology, okay, you have inputs, you have outputs. In the middle, this little brain part of the neural network consists of what are called neurons. We're just gonna do this. We're just gonna go neurons, right? Screw what a neuron is and what it represents and all this shit. But you can kind of think of neurons as like degrees of freedom, or I like to think of it very, very simply as like it's like each neuron is like a drawer in a house, right? So if you have two drawers, like this tiny drawer and this tiny drawer, right? You have these two tiny drawers, and you have all of your possessions. Hello! I don't mind if this gets countered, because then Teferi's gonna come down. I'm gonna eat it. Eat it! Alright. If you have two drawers, you have so many different things. You have toiletries and clothes and electronics and books and stuff. If you have two drawers, it's not enough. And if you have a really simple house, maybe you can get away with like 20 drawers, right? You might have... And again, imagine you don't have bookshelves, you don't have desks, you literally have drawers for 100% of your possessions, right? So maybe you have like 6 drawers dedicated to your books. You have some school books, you have some comic books, you have some nonfiction, you have some fiction. You have 6 drawers are dedicated to that. Then you have another, say, 6 drawers dedicated to clothing, right? If you use 12 drawers, we only got 20 drawers, but that's okay because I have 3 more drawers for toiletries and so on and so forth. Die, Igor Pug. Die. You can think of a neuron as a drawer. If you don't have a lot of possessions in your house, you don't need a lot of drawers. If you don't have a very complex task your brain is trying to solve, you don't have that many neurons. And again, to extend this analogy, if I had a neural network with one neuron that was the brain, I mean, dude, this is such a great threat against control because it just beats down and summons 2 little dirtlers. Bye. If it has just 2 neurons for all of Magic the Gathering, again, that's like trying to figure out how to hold all of your possessions in 2 tiny drawers. There's just literally not enough room to handle the complexity. So the more complex a task you are trying to ask of a neural network, the more neurons you need. Like I had a neural network that was 6 neurons to help a farmer learn to move inside of a green circle. It knew the circle's position. It knew its own position. Cool. Yeah. And it was able to learn that with 6 neurons. And I think if I'm recalling correctly, Alpha Star, the AI that played StarCraft, had 70 million parameters, which means there's some probably double-digit number of millions of neurons. Do you want to have Teferi? Yes, I think I do. We're going to kill this Teferi, and then we'll become plausibly mortified in a moment. So, if we're talking about something like the size, the number of neurons, the size of the neural network to solve playing Magic the Gathering, I don't know, I need a lot of fucking like, okay, so there is, let me back up a lot. Let's say I have some task that I'm just going, you know what? In this circumstance, I just want straight up I think we're conflating neurons and features here. Oh yeah, totally. But I don't fucking give a shit. I'm not gonna try to explain features. I mean, here's the difference between a feature and a neuron stuff. And if there's 70 million parameters in the alpha star, there's probably going to be millions to low tens of millions of neurons anyways. But it doesn't fucking matter. Great. Anyways. So what you can always do, let's do a very simple example. Let's say I have 100 neurons for some task, right? Hello, it's me, it's Teferi, woohoo, yeah! Let's say... You got it, man.
We need to move quickly.
That's so good. Let's suppose I have 100 neurons in some neural network I'm working with, you know? Cool. Let's say I have 100 neurons in some neural network I'm working with. I can literally just go bleh, and close my eyes, and let's say my task does get learned with 100 neurons. And let's say, again for simplicity, it takes 100 hours. Yes, animations. And guess what? Yeah, look at this animations. He plays Teferi, I look like a real idiot. It's not a legendary. That's incredible. Because it takes 100 hours with 100 neurons, and these are largely unstructured, just very simply placed in there, I could wind up in a circumstance. Yeah, I guess we all attack. I could wind up in a circumstance where if I structure my neural network smarter, I could get away with 40 neurons and it learns even faster. 40 neurons, and it could do it in like 15 hours. Because I structured it in a way, I set my problem up more easily. And the example that I would use is like, if there is a brick wall and you're trying to like tear down the brick wall, you could just hit it fucking randomly for a long time, and yes, it will eventually knock down. But if you're smarter and you know, hit this corner and this corner and this side, then the whole thing will then collapse and you're in good shape, right? Same with neural networks. You can literally just go, I don't know, I'm just going to give it more neurons. It'll probably learn eventually. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but you might shoot yourself in the foot by making it too complicated, too difficult, too clumsy of a problem setup. I got a mulligan that, right? That's a bad one. That's a lot better. That's not good. And so I'm still musing on this problem of like, how would you get an AI to do this? Again, I think it'd be very hard to figure out the best representation of the cards in an embedding. I think it's very difficult for me to think of how I would define what the training environment would even be. You know, here's 100 decks, and I'm going to throw them at you, and you're going to randomly play against a bunch of shit, and there you go. There you have it. And that's not even counting. I always get there. That's not even counting. the internal structure, trying to figure out, because again, you could just be like, we have 800 million nodes. And I mean, yeah, I guess you could pull it off, but your training time would be ridiculous. So that's my story. So coming all the way to the end. What was the name of the asker? Shingro. Yeah. So like that's my little basic machine learning scrub thought process behind it. At this late hour, I'm a little tired. I'm kind of... I ate less today because I'm going to be eating so much passatelli tonight. I think the problem is that the cards in Magic have a bunch of different active effects and instance. That's not that... that particular piece is not actually that terribly difficult to deal with. Right. Yeah, Hearthstone would certainly be simpler because you literally wouldn't have to encode any information for active abilities because they don't exist, for sure. Totally right. But I don't think that the representing of certain activated abilities would be prohibitively difficult. Shit, crap, crud butts. Quickly, become vigilant. I think we're just dead to the burn. This deck has so much life gain. Keep up the Mortify. I mean, if we play this, other angels you control have +1/+1 and lifelink. Probably did. Why Forsaken Sanctuaries? Because there's only 8 dual lands in black-white. There's the isolated chapels. No! There's the isolated chapels. There's the... I don't know the name of it. I'll actually show the deck list. Decks. Black, White Angels. We're losing a ton here, and I'm having just the best time. I'm in great spirits. Yeah, we have 4 Godless Shrines, 4 Forsaken Sanctuaries, and 4 Isolated Chapels, because we really need that many double color sources. Also, if you look at this list, it does not really have terrifically many turn 2 plays. Moments of Craving. Really, it's turn 3 where we get Resplendent Angels and History of Benalia, Seraph of Scales, Lyras. This is where we start to turn things. So, I mean, that's about it. Like, if you're given the choice between doing... this is just the obvious follow-up question for Geodude Bro. Why do that? Like, I literally noted that we're doing it, but why? Let me actually do it like this. You can see we have an extraordinarily large number of double colors for both white and black. So, we need double white. We need double white. Uh-oh, we're against aggro. We need double black. Oh, God, we're up against something like a Planeswalker. Need double black for Vraska's Contempt. Need double white. There's a lot of demand for on-curve double color for both. And so, on one hand, it feels like we need lots of coverage. So, that's why we're running 4 Isolated Chapels. But also, turn 2, we have a relatively light suite of spells. So, we kind of have a curve that permits dropping a tapped land on turn 1 and a tapped land on turn 2. Chaz Koenig, love you, Sean. It's like love. Keep on keeping. You know what? I love you too, Chaz Koenig. I'm thrilled to see you, friend. This is mostly acceptable just with these 5 cards. 5.5. Always comes says, what's your favorite old mechanic in an older set? Oh my god. Proliferate, 100%. No, proliferate and populate. Probably populate. Actually, populate's way better. Anything that starts with a P and ends in ulate. Procreate, favorite mechanic. Hey, Dan Plantain, you brought up that you had an art project you were working on earlier. I never caught what it was. Apologies if you just typed in. I straight up flat missed it. Like a big dumb dummy. Oh god. Proliferate doesn't emulate though. Yeah, you got me, Patrick. You fucking got me, man. 0-1 to Patrick. You fucking crushed me. I mean, I said it and I was like, that's not true, but hopefully no one will notice. And Patrick JRM was like, wait a goddamn minute. And I was like, no, fuck Patrick. No, fuck. But it's always on time. It is a good day to blow up this. Dan Plantain says, oh man, wrapping up a logo project. Apply to grad school some projects and illustration for a D&D thing I saw on Wednesday. Oh, that's so great. I love those kinds of art projects. Oh, you would, Contagon.
This isn't a fight you can win.
This isn't a fight you can win. Oh, I think you're going to put me on top. Guess what? Land from the hand. Crappity, frackety, frickety duckety. I am so upset because this does suckety. Thuffer and thuckatash.
No time for a break.
Oh my god. No time for a reclamation. I think we're about to get Flash Angeled. So, how do we avoid a Flash Angel? I think the answer is we draw a chord. Yeah, we draw this. So, if we play this and it gets countered, that's okay. But then our opponent will not have enough mana to flash in the Flash Angel. Good. I believe that this is Bant Flash. So, it runs a lot of flash cards, like the Flash Angel, like the Flash Counter.
Time will tell.
Packer JRM says Day 9-10, Packer JRM 1. It bothers me when people assign a metaphorical point in a non-spoken rivalry. They always assign it like it's the first point. That is true. You got me. Comma. You're shit. Oh my god, the way that Day 9 gets me is always so sick. I think I slammed this down. I might get frilled again. Frilla, illa, a. So now that my angel has +1/+1, I can swing in comfortably, and if Flash Angel Lady comes down, it's not a big deal. I only know like 5 pen spinning tricks, but I do them compulsively because they feel so nice. There it is, the Flash Angel. Oh, your pal Day 9 is smart. Do you wanna? Yes, I think I do. Wilderness Reclamation. I think that I go ready, set, swing a ring a do. I have for strike, and so I'll kill you. I feel like I look stupid right now. I feel like I look really dumb. Take dead action. I think I'll get a black one and a black one. I'm thinking that Elvis Reborn. Is Dan Festival this weekend? It is next weekend, Chaz Koenig. Next weekend. On oh my god, look at Ghost Star. Ghost Star, you're always like so on point, man. So on point, like the legend mod himself. This is going to be our last game because I got to go eat passatelli, man. I'm so excited about this Italian food. It's going to be so good. I even made reservations earlier in the whole week. What? Oh my god, Day 9, no fucking way. See, I love this Bant Flash deck. Because it runs big old Bant Beaters. Doesn't run a Nexus of Fate. So we're dead unless I do this. Yeah, get low, Contagion. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm dead. I'm pretty sure this is from Counterspell, and I'm like, oh, Contagion now. Ah, good game. There's some lists that have come up in the last week that are super great. Vamp Beaters is just, it's so cool. It runs the Flash Angels, Hydroid Krasis, Frilled Mystic, and a small number of other support things, but like uses Wilderness Reclamation to make sure the Flash creatures can come in and you can do the aggressive card drawing on your own turn. It's super cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and close the stream out with some music. And I want to say I had such a great day. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me. Oh, Sheriff, is it evening snuggle time? Sheriff, you're letting me know. Right around show ending time, Sheriff always comes up and she's like, I want to lie right here. Hung out with lunch. I ate some chicken and chatted. We did big old long stretch of Wargroove, wrapped up with some machine learning talk, and then just played some best of one Magic Arena. There's some sweet decks out there. I'm really excited to start brewing my Naya control deck, which brought me great success in the last season. We'll try it again this season. It's going to be grand. This is so great. This is lovely. I hope you all find an Italian restaurant. Actually, let me just throw this away.